What's happening, Informed America? It's your history tutor, Thrash City. Here to teach your toughness about American history. The straight one. Learn with Thrash City. The Conquistadors! What's good, Informed America? This session we're going to go over the Conquistadors and their role in colonizing the New World. Specifically, a few events that happened after Columbus, but before the Great Migration. This part of history is a little less popular, but it's still an important century that led up to the way the U.S. is today. In roughly 150 years, they overpowered the indigenous people and colonized their land, creating what was known as New Spain. This is how it went down. After Christopher Columbus returned to Spain, reporting his findings of the Indies to the Spanish Empire, it sparked intercontinental conquest. Spain thought of this as their time to expand their empire across the Atlantic. For young Spanish men, they looked at Christopher Columbus as the Michael Jordan of conquering. Pretty much becoming a conquistador was a means of coming up. With that said, it didn't take too long for things to become corrupt. Conquistadors of specific areas went out to conquer other conquistadors and fight to re-steal stolen land. This brought all types of different explorers. They headed to the New World in search of gold first. They wanted glory for themselves, and they also wanted to spread the word of
Jesus Christ!
Ooh.
Belt of truth!
Okay.
Jesus Christ! That's what we do it for. We love you, God.
Okay, alright,
Chest plate! Jesus Christ!
Alright, bro. Turn down a little bit.
Jesus
You're
Christ!
on, I'm gonna need you to be on off.
Look, there's the enemy! Look! There's the enemy!
Bruh! Thanks. Anyways, in 1494, Portugal and Spain established the Treaty of Tordesillas. This allowed them to evenly split the new findings of the New World. The problem with this treaty was the only people who honored it was Portugal and Spain. So you know when everybody else got word that there's new land to conquer, they ain't sleep on it. Everybody and their mama wanted a piece. Not only the Spanish, but the Dutch, the French, the British, even Russia rushed over there to conquer them some land. It was pretty much a free-for-all. With Spain and Portugal's neighboring countries not honoring the Treaty of Tordesillas, and Spanish conquerors out there conquering other Spanish conquerors, it was crazier than Super Smash Bros. On 8-player mode in the F-Zero map with items on. There were gangs of armies led by different conquistador leaders. So many, it will take me forever and a day to cover them all. So for the sake of me progressing through the American timeline and getting Black History Month popping, we just gonna cover a couple of them. Here are 3 conquistadors who I found interesting. First up, we got Hernan Cortez. Cortez conquered the Aztec Empire, which was in the city of Tenochtitlan,
Tenochtitlan.
T-word, and named it Mexico in 1522. He accomplished this by befriending the Aztec Empire's enemies. So you see, the Aztec Empire was kidnapping the neighboring tribes and sacrificing their homies and shit. And you know, they wasn't really feeling that. In fact, it made them feel some type of way, so they joined Cortez. So Aztec Empire's enemies led Cortez to the empire, and they was cooling it for a little bit. And then BAM! The Aztec Empire pretty much lost. So after Cortez was victorious, he just betrayed his allies and made all the indigenous people slaves. There you have it, Mexico. Number 2, Francisco Pizarro. Pizarro led the campaign to conquer the Inca Empire in Peru. He was able to defeat them in a popular war known as the Battle of Cajamarca. C-word. It's finna be C-word. So this is how it went down. Pizarro invited the king of the Inca Empire to his town. C-word. Pizarro had less than 200 men, but they were strapped. They had guns and cannons and horses all hidden in the walls of C-Town, right? So when the emperor came through, and he came through deep, like Lil Jon, we too deep up in this bitch. Real talk. He came through, what? 7,000, 8,000. So he showed up, no armor, little ass axes, you know what I'm saying? But they had so much swag. They was decked out in the newest Supreme, well, the 15th century version of Supreme. And he had like 1,000 of his other goons wait on the outside. Pizarro was lightweight impressed though, like when he seen them, because they was so icy. He rolled up there with so much swag, and he came so deep that he didn't feel like he needed to be strapped at all. To tell you the truth, he was just like
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
He came so deep that he didn't feel he needed to be strapped. The emperor didn't know though. Pizarro stayed with that thing on him. So Pizarro and his men, they were scared as fuck. Like, to tell you the truth, they was mad like, damn, how are we gonna take so many people? There's only like 180 of us. But, Pizarro kept his poker face, you know what I'm saying? He rolled up to the emperor, who was icy as fuck, who was dripping in sauce, and he gave him the Bible. Like, I'm saying, here you go. He just straight up gave it to him. The emperor didn't know what the hell it was. He looked at things like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? Threw that joint on the floor. Pizarro wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? He was out there representing.
Jesus Christ!
Pizarro gave the cue. All the motherfuckers came out. Bam! Shooting all the motherfuckers up. They was icy, they was dripping in sauce, but they ain't had no weapons. What the fuck they gonna do? The Supreme Drop didn't prepare them for fucking gats.
We can't! They don't stop! We can't! They do that! What we gonna do? What we gonna do?
They got murked.
Stomping on the enemy!
He took the emperor hostage, went outside, all your goons outside too. They all surrendered, took over the Inca Empire with like 180 people. Number 3, Lope De Aguirre. Now anybody who knows anything about conquistadors knows about Lope. My boy is the most triflingest, the most paranoid, the most disrespectful conquistador there ever was. Aguirre heard about the conquistadors that came before him and thought that'd be a good opportunity for him to claim a bunch of glory for himself. So since the time he arrived, all he's been enduring was fighting. So like civil wars broke out, he was the one there fighting for those, trying to take over land that's already been. So instead of claiming wealth, he just had to endure a bunch of fighting. He was the conquistador with the black forces on, right? He's been fighting for 20 years. He don't care about nothing else. He's trying to claim fame, but there's nothing to really be had anymore. So he's been fighting for 20 years. He has nothing to show for it. But then he gets put under another commander who is more icy, who has more sauce and is a lot younger. He even got his wife there. So he's salty. Aguirre was straight up hating too, because he felt like he should be taking over. He should be leading the crew. He been there 20 years and still ain't got nothing to show for it. He has all the fighting experience and everything, but he's like, why am I following this fuck? You need to be following me. So one day, Aguirre convinced the whole crew to murk the leader. He's like, yo, we going over here. He don't know where he going. There's more gold over here. We need to get rid of this motherfucker and make me the leader. And that's what they did. He was the new leader, took over Peru, and established it as its own kingdom, separate from the Spanish crown. So he grew paranoid after a while. Since he's surrounded by other people who are traitorous like himself, he had all types of people killed. He had the priest killed. He had the commanders, the last commander's wife killed. He even had anybody killed who had any royal blood whatsoever. If you sneeze the wrong way, just be prepared to meet the llama clip, because Aguirre ain't playing. So for a long while, he went out gang banging on other conquistador crews with his half-starved group and was actually legitimately winning. He conquered a few of the other conquistadors' towns, took a lot of people hostage, killed a lot of other people who didn't agree with him, and then he thought this would be a good time to write a salty letter to the King of Spain. He was talking about how he felt like he's betrayed by his country, and he felt like he should be treated better, and everyone else was betraying him, so he decided to make his own country. Pretty much he was just mad as hell. He just wrote a salty ass letter. So Aguirre was pretty much free to do whatever the hell he wanted to do. That was until the Spanish forces arrived. See, they wanted to fight him, but they figured, we don't even gotta fight this dude. We're just gonna grant pardons to all of his traitorous allies, and then they gonna leave him. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't even have to fight him. All his allies, being trifling as they are and treasonous, they just straight up dipped. So with no army and the reputation of being a treasonous traitor, Aguirre's last act as a free man was to kill his own daughter. He figured that killing her would spare her the inhumane experience of witnessing his torture and death. So when Aguirre got caught, he pretty much just pled insanity. But Spanish forces wasn't having it. They chopped him into a whole bunch of little pieces, shot him in the head, and distributed his body parts across the world. That's it for this session to learn with Thrash City, the Conquistadors. Wait, hold up. There's one more conquistador I wanted to go over. Stay tuned the next few weeks where I cover the first African conquistador, Juan Garrido. Don't forget to like, subscribe, stay up, and keep grinding. You still here, bro?
Shoot! Jesus Christ!
No, we ain't doing this.
Shoot a fit! Jesus Christ!
We ain't doing this. I'm done.
We fight that holy war, and we win.
Y'all gonna have to wait till next week cause I ain't messing with this man right now.
I'm just letting everybody know.